Good morning, Service Alliance community. How's everybody doing out there today? Jason is not with us this morning. He had something to do, so you just get good old Mike. But glad to be here anyway. So maybe I'll skip the dad jokes this morning. So hope you're all doing well. How's everybody doing? See Garrison chiming in. How you doing, Garrison? We're gonna have a good discussion today, talking about discount without desperation, pricing that protects your brand. Talking about basically when it gets slow, surviving that slow season. So we got a few things that we're going to talk about today. That's going to be a good discussion. It's going to be a little short since you just got me, but nonetheless, we'll talk about some good stuff. We'll talk about when things go slow, you're dropping leads, how you react to it, and the temptation to slash those prices. But discounting poorly, it can hurt your brand and long-term growth. So we want to make sure that you're strategically offering discounts and not doing it out of response of being desperate. So I'm sure we've all been there at times. But first, let's open us up in prayer real quick, like we always do. If you're visiting with us for the first time, we open every episode in prayer and go over a related verse, and then we get into the content. So let's start our morning in the right direction with the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for this opportunity to speak to our audience and basically just worship you, Lord, and put everything back to pointing to you. Allow us to go throughout our day and keep you in mind, and just allow us to represent you, Lord. It's with praise and dignity and thankfulness we say these words in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Today, I got a verse for everybody. This is Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, for which God prepared us in advance to do. Business owners who understand their inherent worth in God's eyes can lead with confidence, make decisions aligned with their values, and build resilient businesses that withstand challenges without tying their identity solely to financial outcomes. So we are worthy as God's people. We are worthy as his creation, and we need to remember that. And so are our customers. So hope that puts you in the right mindset when you go out about your day today. So we're dealing with the discount dilemmas. Why owners panic and cut prices. When you're slow, phones are dead. How do you respond? We need to do something, anything. But in most cases, we act out of despair, and we react instead of acting in a way that we should be acting, right? We don't act logically in those situations a lot of times. So when the phones are dead, obviously, you look at your competitors, they're running $49 diagnostic or promo pricing. Maybe I should match them. That is not the way to go. Other common discounting mistakes: across the board price cuts with no plan. Why would anybody do that? You're literally just cutting your own throat at that point. You want to keep your brand strong, positive. You want to keep that impression of professionalism. You want to keep your prices matching the value of your service. So don't ever cut those. You still have bills to pay, and slashing your prices doesn't make you any more profitable by getting other jobs, and it devalues everything that you have to offer. It devalues your skill set. It devalues you as a business owner. And you never want to do that without actually having a strategic plan and having strategic reasons for doing so. That's what I'm trying to get at. So if you're out there trying to do price matching with low-end competitors, it's a race to the bottom every single time. Don't do it. Permanent discounts absolutely kill margins. You're setting the tone when you do that. You're attracting customers that you don't want. You're getting the bottom of the barrel type of customers. So definitely don't do that. It's going to create long-term risks. Long-term risks, customers are going to start seeing you as the cheap option, not the valuable option, not the best option that they can call, right? So it makes it really hard to raise your prices later once you've slashed prices. It makes you look indecisive. It devalues your brand and your technical skills. So don't lower your prices in reaction to what everybody else is doing or a slow season. So here's a few tips on how you can add value versus slashing prices. And adding value is the biggest way that you can offer more for the same price. And that adds value without slashing your prices, and it doesn't cost you anything extra other than a little bit of time. Because if you're slow, think about it, you've got time anyway. So you're not losing anything. Free maintenance checks is a way that you can do that. Extended labor warranties and offering extra services, maybe a free inspection on a second appliance while you're there, things like that. Try to be creative on what you can offer additionally that is out of your norm, that doesn't cost you any money to do, and you're already there, or something that you can offer that's a little more attractive. And it doesn't have to be permanent. It can be temporary. So using things like in your marketing, using things like urgency without looking desperate is a really key thing. Like doing limited time offers, saying that you only 10 spots available. We can only do 10 bookings, 10 service calls at this price. And that creates FOMO. You want those people having that fear of missing out, right? It doesn't mean that you only have 10 available slots. You can take on as many as you want, but it creates FOMO and makes people more apt to take action for what you want. Offer targeted promos, new homeowners, landlords. New homeowners are great if you do installations. New homeowners are buying these brand new homes. They may need some sales or installation support. And a lot of new homeowners, obviously, they're buying used homes. They're probably going to need inspections, right? Or maintenance plans. It's a great way to get in with realtors so that you can get those leads. Landlords, same thing. Get in with those landlords, get in with property managers, offer them some sort of incentive. Say, this month we're running a special and we're including additional things. Um, the more you use us, the better discount you'll get. Okay. Don't discount out of desperation, but discount out of volume. Okay. A lot of property managers, a lot of you guys out there, basically do a set fee for them. It might be discounted. However, say this month, we are running a volume special. If you use us X amount of times, we're going to give you this discount. And you could do that in a tiered level to where it goes up and up and up. The more tiers and volume that they get, then you offer them a little less of a, or more of a discount, less of a price. So you can offer discounts for repeat customers that are using you again. This is a loyalty discount. So make sure that you're thinking about all of these things when you're trying to be strategic with your offers. Do seasonal type discounts. Book now and get 10% off your next spring appointment. It's all in the way you word your promotion, but it's not discounting you as a provider, and it's not permanently discounting it. You're just offering a special. So there's a lot of ways that you could spin it. You could do bundle services like washer repair and dryer maintenance. It gives you a better perceived value, things like that. All right. So we got some tactical implementations that we can do. Know your floor price. Know what your cost of doing business is. Never discount below your break even. Make sure you run your numbers. Know where that floor is in your own business. Your profit margins should be built into what that cost of doing business is on top of that. So if you're looking at 40% gross margin or 50% or 60%, whatever that may be, 100%, you need to make sure that your growth plans are also included in your service fee and your pricing. So if you're looking to grow and expand, then you need to make sure that you have enough in those numbers to be able to do that, right? That should just be basic business 101 when you're wanting to grow. Now, if you're in a slow season, that will allow you to offer better discounts when you need to offer those discounts to get more work. So you could offer tiered packages, your basic, standard, and premium, for example, anchor pricing, and then upsell potential. So when you offer packages, it allows you to be able to upsell, and you never ever know who's going to take advantage of it. I've had some of the people that I thought would never pay for a certain service are the ones that upgrade, and they need it the most, but you never think that they're gonna get it. So keep in mind that you're not selling to yourself. You're selling something that someone needs, and you don't know who's ever going to accept it. You can't say, oh, this premium package is really expensive, but it may be expensive to you and what you think is valuable, but they may see it as a big value. So make sure that you have different types of packages and offerings that you can upsell, and it will definitely increase your ticket value. Create a seasonal promo calendar. This is something that we preach, and I have a full example of this in one of our mastermind we did last month at Service Alliance Group. Plan for slow seasons. Offer your discounts and promos in advance. Okay. Plan all of that out. You know when your slow seasons are. You need to plan for that. You need to plan for different marketing spend during those times. You need to plan for different adjustments in the business at those times. And when you map all of that out on a calendar, you can be much better prepared for that when it comes. And it's not a surprise. I mean, I see so many people in the groups, hey, is anybody slow? What's going on? Yeah, everybody's slow this time of year. And it happens consistently every single year, at least twice a year. There's a couple of spots where things slow down, right? Everyone knows when they are. And if you don't, it's very easy to find out when they are. Especially if you're a new business owner, all you have to do is ask the group. They're going to know. It's going to help you avoid those knee-jerk reactions. Okay. And you won't be as desperate. When you expect something, you already know that you need to work through it somehow, and you can plan better for that. So double check if you got a CSR, double check your CSR scripts and really focus on quality. Focus on warranty and peace of mind, not just price. You need to focus on converting as many calls as you can into service calls. So then you need to look at your techs. You also need to look at how they're handling. If you're a multi-tech operation, you need to see how they're working with those customers. If their closing ratio, their walk rate is a little bit high, there are ways that you can really fine tune that to increase that. And even a 1% increase could mean thousands of dollars to your business, to the bottom line at the end of the year. So that's definitely another tip that I have. Lead with credibility. Your reviews, your expertise, mention them. Put them out there in your marketing. Then mention your offer. Just put yourself out there. Social reviews and social relevance is what really gets people to trust you. All right, that social trust. So it's really good to put that out there when you're getting referred a lot by people. Make sure you put that up front. Hey, a lot of people and a lot of your neighbors are referring us in such and such groups. Maybe they're a part of those groups. Maybe they're not. So make sure that your CSRs are speaking to these things when they see some challenges on the phone. Make sure that they understand those things. They need to understand what's happening and what people are saying about your business so that they can speak to those customers who are on the fence with booking a call with you. They need to understand what limits they have for being able to offer value to get that call booked, and get that service call. So you have the opportunity as a technician to get in there and then upsell them or close that job at minimum. The higher your ticket, the more bottom line you're going to make. But it's not just about the higher tickets. You can adjust things, add more value. You can definitely raise your ticket values and increase your sales even in the slow season. It's not hard to do. You just have to have the proper mindset to do it. Uh, Dr. Dan's chiming in. It can vary in areas as well. It seems like the south the south wall will get busy a few weeks before I do. Yeah, of course. I mean, it all depends on your market. It depends on, you know, for example, you got people in Florida that have up and down moments, right? Depending on the area that they're in, because they got the snowbirds. Excuse me. They got the snowbirds, so people come in and then they leave during certain seasons. You've got, all the Airbnbs that are bringing people in during seasonal peaks in the calendar years. So they may be having more issues and breaking things more and need more repairs. So there's definitely a lot of different things that that are going to affect this, right? However, you know your area the best. You know when that slow time is going to come, and you know when, just like Dan said, the South will get busy a few weeks before I do. If that's an obvious indication, then wouldn't you also think that the South will get slower before you do? I mean, it makes sense, right? So that right there is, if it's a few weeks, you already know it's coming. Okay. And if it's repeatable the same time every year, then it's an easy repeatable pattern. Okay. And it's something that you can put on a calendar. You know that you've gotta watch your numbers a little closer at that time than when you're busy. You should always be looking at your numbers, no matter how busy you are, slow or busy. But it it's a good indicator so that you can do a little planning, right? You gotta everyone has some sort of um I guess I'm having a hard time thinking of the proper word, but everyone has signals that are coming their way, right? Everyone has patterns that they can look at. And when you look at the patterns and these signals that are available to you and you're aware of them, it will soften the blows when the hard times come. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. I had one of my clients, and he stayed profitable in quarter one last year when it was pretty slow. And what he did is they bundled repairs with maintenance. They offered priority spring booking. Their average ticket price went up when they did that. And because they were offering these bundles and they were offering maintenance packages, and they were actually putting out logical offers ahead of time so that they could prepare for that slow season. People were actually, right before the slow season, they were actually starting to take them up on those things. So it was able to get them through, and it kept them profitable. But to their surprise, they actually increased their average ticket price, which obviously that goes right to your bottom line at the end of the year. And their customer retention improved. Um, the big key takeaway is it's not about lowering prices. It's about increasing the value of your service and your offer. So definitely these are some things that I definitely want you to keep in mind as you're looking at different situations. Don't react out of desperation. Um, here's a few tips before I sign off. Audit your current pricing. Where are you leaving money on the table? Um, all of us have money that we're leaving on the table. No matter what business you're in, people leave money on the table. Okay. There's you need to, as a business owner, look at your business objectively, and you need to step back so that you can see the whole picture. And when you see that whole picture, you'll be able to better understand and look at it with objective goggles, and you could say, wow, I didn't realize, I thought I was doing really well in this area, but now I'm second guessing that. I can see ways that we can improve that. You could have other people, if you're in a mastermind or a peer group, you could have others look into your business. They may see some things that you're not. Um, Definitely lean on your network, for help in this, to put a second set of eyes on some things somewhere. Everyone thinks that they're doing great. Everyone thinks that they're the king. But if your numbers aren't showing that, you're obviously not doing something right. And if you're struggling over and over and over, and you're constantly up and down, up and down, up and down throughout the year, then you're obviously doing something wrong. All the successful companies out there, yes, they have peaks and valleys, but they're not as high and they're not as deep as what a lot of other companies that I'm seeing are having. And that's because they have figured out their pricing, they figured out their value, they know what their cost of doing business is, and they know their numbers is what it boils down to. And they constantly train people, and they beat it into their employees' heads and their CSR's heads on how to constantly improve, and they have systems in place. And when you have systems in place for those things, everything runs smoother, and your business won't, have as all these spiky peaks and valleys. Build the seasonal promos. Um, Tie to your market's real patterns. I talked about patterns a little bit ago. Obviously, holidays, weather, um, you know, different areas of the country have different weather patterns and seasons, weather seasons. You know, those can definitely play into certain things, and definitely affect spending. Okay. Like, certain parts of Tennessee and Kentucky got hit real hard with the floods and everything. We had the Carolinas got hit with hurricane floods, and just things just getting wiped out in certain areas. You always got natural disaster times. Those will affect, but they are seasonal, right? But you can still plan ahead for that. And that could be coming, and that could be devastating to your business. So if you're not planning for those crisis contingencies, then you need to start, okay, and start researching what those patterns are and what the likelihood of certain crises happening in your market, in your area. um in the Midwest, we don't have as many, and we just deal with tornadoes, and they're kind of random all over the place. But we know the season that they come. Um, Position everything that you have as value packed. This goes to revamping your offer messages. Make sure that you're promoting yourself as value added and value packed rather than discounted. Some people will pay more, or most people will pay more when they're getting more value. Okay. Because they'll pay a higher ticket price because that's where they get the absolute most value. That's what they're looking for. You know, if I pay this price, I'm not going to get anything, hardly at all. And it's cheap. But that's not what I want because it looks cheap. I like this package. It offers me a middle ground, but I'm getting exactly what I'm paying for. You know, it's kind of like I'm not really getting a lot of value, but it's a fair price for what I'm getting. But then you can have a higher package that just offers a lot more, and they can't get that anywhere else. None of the other competitors are offering all those things, even at that higher price. And that may put you in a position to where you could have different packages, different offerings for different things, especially maintenance packages that you could sell at a higher ticket price and overall raise your average ticket value throughout the year or throughout the month in those slow seasons. And that can really help sustain you for the long term. Make sure you're training your team. Like I said earlier, CSRs and techs should speak confidently about your value over the pricing. Share your discount strategy with us on Facebook. Let us know what you plan to do, what ideas you have. We'd love to hear in the Appliance Alliance group. What are you guys doing? What have you tried that didn't work as well? We'd love to know what ideas everybody has, because if you don't post this stuff, you don't know what other people are doing, and someone might post something that has a really, really good idea, and no one ever thought of that, right? But unless you engage in the community, you're never gonna figure all that out, and people may not be thinking about this stuff to where they're just going to post an answer and say, hey, this worked out really well for me, you should try this. So go out there, get in the community, share your strategies, share what you're doing and what's working and what's not working for you. So to recap, offer strategic discounting, protect your brand, and keep your revenue flowing. If you like this video, pay the fee. Jason always says pay the fee. Like, subscribe, and share. And if you're an all access member, TK's talking about property management work this month. It's going to be a pretty good session. He's been talking to me a lot about that. So we don't want you to miss that on Saturday, April 19th. And I'll see you next week. Everybody have a great day.